We're going to be discussing movies, baby.
For even more quality content, please consider subscribing to our channel, where we have a plethora of videos under our mini playlists, from food reviews to hotel reviews, all the way up to our most popular series, which is our Vegas videos. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share the videos. Thanks for tuning in.
Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel, Smif and Laly. Of course, I'm Smif. In today's video, we're going to be discussing a few horror gems that I think you guys should definitely check out. Monday, so we're going to talk about some movies today. As a horror fan, I think we all would agree that 2022 gave us a lot of great horror films. Hell, it's been pretty solid since 2021. We've been getting some great movies. Well, here we are halfway through 2023, and I think they're just on par to do the same exact thing. Instead of doing a single review, today, I'm going to tell you about a bunch of movies. Now, you already know my favorite genre is horror, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to tell you about some good joints here. This time I'm going to tell you about a few that you may have heard of, some you may have never heard of, and then I'm going to tell you which ones I think you definitely should check out, okay? So stick around to the end as we discuss a few horror gems that you may not have caught.
Let's kick our list off with starting with 4 of the most popular and anticipated horror films of 2023 so far. You probably saw these, so let's go ahead and get them right out of the box. In the film Megan, brilliant roboticist Gemma has created a lifelike AI doll designed to be the perfect child's companion. Megan can listen, watch, and learn as it plays the role of friend, teacher, playmate, and protector. When Gemma becomes the unexpected caretaker of her 8-year-old niece, she gives her a prototype of her newest creation, which doesn't turn out to be the greatest idea in the world. The film stars Allison Williams from Get Out, Violet McGraw from The Haunting of Hill House, and Ronnie Chang, that you may recognize from The Daily Show. This is definitely a must-see film if you haven't already. You should 100% check this out. I give this film a 3.5 on the Smif scale. Evil Dead Rise was 100% one of my favorite films of 2023 so far. I was looking forward to it, and it delivered. It did not disappoint. What's even cooler about it is you don't even have to be familiar with the series to follow along with it. It can stand alone on its own merits. It stars Alyssa Sutherland, Morgan Davies, and Lily Sullivan. In this film, 2 estranged sisters have a reunion that is actually cut short by an earthquake and a really dumb decision made by one of the kids, which brings out the demons. And it starts possessing some of the people. It's awesome. You should definitely check it out. If you're familiar with the series, even better. If not, you can watch this as a standalone film. I give this one 3.8 on the Smif scale. Next up, we have Scream Part 6. I'll be the first to admit, when I heard they were redoing Scream, I was a little worried. I thought it was going to be a remake. And I watched the MTV series. No. So this one, I'm not gonna lie, the last Scream Part 5 was pretty daggone good. I like the new cast, the ensemble, and they're back here again. What's made this one a little bit different and more interesting is this time, instead of being in Woodsboro or on a college campus, they are in the heart of the city, New York City. Let's face it, it's been 20 years, so you already know what Scream is about. If you don't, you've been living under a rock. They're back with the same old shenanigans, but again, even better. It stars Jenna Ortega, Melissa Barrera, who I love her, she's gorgeous. And of course, the favorite, Courtney Cox, she's back in this one as well. I'm not going to really give away the story because it's Scream. You can't spoil Scream at all, that's ridiculous. But what I will tell you is this, I thought it was good. The ending was a little bit wonky. The reveal was a little disappointing if you ask me, but I still go ahead and give this one like a 3.6 on my Smif scale. Definitely worth a check out. Knock at the Cabin is an M. Night Shyamalan film. It stars Dave Bautista, Ben Aldridge, and Jonathan Groff, and also introduces Kristen Cui. What would you do if the big bad wolf came a knocking at your door? Well, here's your chance to answer that question. A couple takes their daughter on a quick weekend getaway at a remote cabin in the woods. While there, 4 strangers come knocking at the door, telling them that they have to make an unbelievable decision, and this in the interest of saving the entire world. This wasn't your typical M. Night Shyamalan film, meaning the twist on this one, it felt right. You know what I mean? Like, it felt good. Sometimes his films could be hit or miss, and I mean that respectfully. This one was really good. Like, it was so good. We've already done a separate video on it. I'll put the link up above. It's definitely worth a shot, worth checking out. First of all, great performance by Dave Bautista. My hat's off to him. I love his work, loves what he does, love him in the role. Again, watch our separate video on that film. Thought Knock at the Cabin was a great film. I thought it was entertaining, and it had a nice little story to it, so I give it 4 Smifs. Malum. To be honest, this is probably my favorite movie on this list. I really enjoyed this movie. One reason that I enjoyed it so much is because it is a remake of, again, one of my very favorite horror films ever made, called Last Shift. Definitely, if you haven't seen that, check that one out as well. It stars Jessica Sula and Eric Olsen. Basically, it's about a young lady, rookie officer cop who has to take the very last shift at a decommissioned police station. And while she's there completely alone, all types of things are going on. It happened to be on the anniversary of a cult leader's passing at that same prison. So is the cult there messing with her? Is it all in her head? You never know. This movie is awesome, 1000% worth a check out. Highly recommend you see this. This movie does a great job of putting you in the environment, in the atmosphere. It's spooky, creepy, you feel isolated. If you love mystery, you love a little gore, you like horror, and just honestly being scared, then both of these films are the one for you. I give them both, honestly, 4.8 on my Smif scale. Up next, we have the film Infinity Pool, directed by Brandon Cronenberg. It stars Mia Goth and Alexander Skarsgård. Listen, let me tell you right now, first of all, I think Mia Goth, she lives to play these kind of roles. She's definitely going to be a horror queen, if we can't already consider her that. She can go from seductive and sultry to insane and psychotic and terrifying in an instant. This movie right here caught me off guard. I didn't know what to expect from it, but I'm going to tell you, it was really good. It's definitely worth a check out. It's about a couple who's on a vacation. They meet a young lady who tells them, hey, let's go off the beaten path. Let's go out and explore the local area versus the tourist resort. You know, as they say, when in Rome, you do what the Romans do. There's an accident, and the movie starts from right there. And it's kind of a cautionary tale. The laws are different over there, so you have to be careful. There's consequences to your actions, and unfortunately, sometimes you gotta pay those consequences. This film is full of all kinds of twists and tangles that you will never see coming. Just when you think you got it figured out, you realize you don't. So it's an enjoyable ride, enjoyable film. Definitely check it out. I give this one here a 3.9 on my Smif scale. I thought Renfield was actually a really good movie that didn't get the credit that it deserves. I feel like it's a sleeper hit. Both myself and Laly very much enjoyed it. Some of our kids watched it with us. It was really good. It stars Nicholas Hoult, Nicolas Cage, and Awkwafina. And it's a story that was adapted from Dracula by Robert Kirkman, which, if you already know, we love The Walking Dead, so that was already a plus there. And basically it takes us back to like the Bram Stoker's Dracula, but this time it gives us a twist because it's from the perspective of the enslaved Renfield. You know, Dracula's Igor, he has to do all his bidding during the day and stuff. Well, it's a modern day. He's decided that he's had enough of being in servitude and he wanted to branch out on his own. And of course, the ramifications of that aren't too great. It's funny. It's visually stunning. It's a beautifully filmed movie. Definitely worth a check out. I highly recommend it. I scored this one a 4 on my Smif scale. Must see it. It's really good. Alright, and up next we're coming to the Pope's Exorcist, which stars Russell Crowe. I gotta say this real quick. I like Russell Crowe as an actor. I don't know if you saw Unhinged. I thought that was pretty intense. So I think that's from like 2021 or 2020. See that as well. But yeah, so it stars Russell Crowe, Laurel Martin, Daniel Zafato, and Alex Esso. Russell Crowe plays Father Gabriel, who is the chief exorcist for the Vatican. And I thought this one was unique because they did take a lot of actual biblical scripture and applied that. For example, there's parts he's talking to the possessed child or the demon, and the demon refers to himself as Legion, for we are many. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's right out the Bible right there. But supposedly this is based on an actual priest. I know it's based on a book. The book is An Exorcist Tells His Stories, and it's supposed to be by the actual Father Gabriel. I think his name is Amorth, and he's performed over 100,000 exorcisms in his lifetime. I don't give spoilers, but I will tell you this one is quite different, so you should check it out. It is very good. I thought so, at least. And I'm going to also give this a 4.0 on my Smif scale. Insidious The Red Door is our most recently released film on this list. It is the 5th installment of the Insidious franchise. This is actually a pretty cool film. It brings us all the way back to the very beginning with the Lambert family we were introduced to in Insidious Chapter 1. I thought it was a pretty solid film. It still stars Patrick Wilson, Lynn Shay, Rose Byrne, and Ty Simpkins, who played the young Dalton. He is recurring that role as a grown-up version of Dalton. This was also Patrick Wilson's directorial debut, and I think he did a fantastic job. I'll say that as a side note. Going back to the film, it picks up where we left off with them at the end of Chapter 2. Josh and Dalton's memories were completely wiped, and they had those visions of the further and everything that happened to them repressed. So with that being said, now we fast forward a decade later, and the things have changed. The dynamism of the family has completely changed. We have a grown Dalton now who is ready to head off to college, and Josh, his father, is going to bring him there. So he drops his son off to college, and while there, he starts having these visions, but he doesn't know why, because again, his memory was wiped. It's still not clear to him, and it's not coming through all the way. Unfortunately, he's an art major, and his instructor came up with this technique saying for him to reach deep inside of himself and search and find the art in him. And by him doing that, it kind of undid the repressed memories, and it brought him back to him in a way he still didn't fully understand them. Well, I'm giving you a little too much, but it brings back the memories, and that's where the movie picks up from there. Now, what's awesome about it is it does answer a lot of questions that you may have had from Chapter 1 and 2. And that's what I love about the Insidious franchise. It seems like they come back full circle and give you those answers to the questions you may have had. This one did the same thing. It's a solid film. It's definitely worth a check out. I'm going to give it about a 3.9 on the Smif scale. It's not the best film in the series, but it's definitely not the worst either. It's a solid film, solid horror movie. Some good scares in there that, Insidious is known for. So check it out. Little Bone Lodge stars Neil Limpau, Jolie Richardson, and Sadie Salvaro. This movie right here is 100% Smif and Laly approved and should be on your must-see film list. One thing I like about this is it's one of those films that it really starts off more of a thriller, like your typical thriller, and then you'll see why it's on the horror list by the time you get to the end credits. The film basically is about two brothers that are on the run. They have a car accident. They have to take refuge in this home they come across, the only home for miles. And when they do, they decide they're going to take the family hostage. Well, don't mess with a mama bear. Sometimes you bite off a little bit more than you can chew. And it's called Little Bone Lodge for a reason. You will find out why. I give this movie 4.5 Smiths. Definitely, you should check this out. Before we discuss our final film, let's take a moment to salute a few honorable mentions. Nefarious, starring Sean Patrick Flanery and Jordan Belfi. I know, before you start, evil right-wing cabal! It's preachy! That's what everybody says, but hear me out. I actually enjoyed this film. I thought it was pretty good. I thought Sean Patrick Flanery did a fantastic job in the main character role. Basically, what the film is about, there is a convicted killer who is literally, it's the day of his execution. He's about to be put to death. However, they brought in a psychiatrist because he tells this psychiatrist that he is actually possessed by a demon that caused him to do all the things that he did. Psychiatrist has to make a decision whether or not he is playing the part or if he is fit to be executed. Check it out. It is definitely worth viewing. Next up on our list, The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. This film stars Laly de Leon Hayes, Denzel Whitaker, and Chad Coleman. Basically what this movie is, in short, it's a modernized urban retelling of Frankenstein with Doc McStuffins. Of course, because Laly de Leon Hayes is the young lady who voiced Doc McStuffins. But she does good in the role. Basically, the film is about a brilliant young girl. She was a scientist. She lost her brother, lost a bunch of people around her. She's sick and tired of all the death in the hood, and she wants to do something about it. She feels that death is a disease, and of course, if it's a disease, it can be cured. The movie is stylish. It's an interesting film. You know what I mean? It's a black film, I would say, but anybody can enjoy it. Definitely worth a check out. Our next honorable mention is the film Unseen. It stars Midori Francis and Jolene Purdy. Now, the premise of this one I thought was very unique. It was a really cool, fun movie. More of a thriller than a horror, but definitely have horror elements because it starts in a cabin in the woods. So let me ask you a question. What would you do if you were a gas station clerk and you received a random call from a lady asking you to help, saying she's being hunted by her ex-boyfriend and she needed you to be her eyes and ears because she can't see because she's nearly blind without her glasses? Well, that's exactly what happens in this film. Emily was kidnapped and Sam, the gas station clerk, the young lady, has to help her through. It's fun, it's twists and turns, unique. Of course, there's always going to be parts where you're like, don't do it and do this. But I thought it was a really good movie. Definitely worth a check out. Influencer is one of those movies that should definitely be on your radar. Should be on your list. It's not typically something that I would flock to. But I decided to give it a chance, and I'm glad that I did. The film stars Emily Tennant and Cassandra Naud. This film is about young Madison, who is a popular social media influencer, and she's abroad in Thailand on a solo journey. You know, she was supposed to be with her boyfriend in the beginning. He didn't wind up showing up, so therefore she did this trip all by herself. While on vacation, she meets a young lady who befriends her, but turns out to be a little bit more than she expected. This is a warning: when you're traveling by yourself, you never know what can happen, so be careful out there. This should be on your radar, worth a watch.
And now it's time for our feature presentation.
The Blackening. Although I presented this list in no particular order, I do believe that I saved the best for last. Now hear me out. This film stars Melvin Gregg, Antoinette Robertson, Scene K. Walls, and other stars that you may or may not recognize. This film I very much enjoyed. Give it a shot, especially. Don't let the name fool you. This movie was all around enjoyable. Whether you're black, white, Cuban, doesn't matter. It was funny. It was well shot. It had some legitimate good scares in it. And when I say it was funny, it's a horror comedy, but it's not over the top. It's not too silly. It's not that slapstick. It's funny in a way that it's going to give you a chuckle without distracting from the movie. I guarantee you on that. 7 friends decide to plan a reunion for a Juneteenth getaway at a remote cabin out in the middle of the woods. It's supposed to be just some good old friends who haven't seen each other in a while getting back together, to celebrate Juneteenth. When they get to the cabin, they find themselves trapped and forced to play this game, or games, I should say, called The Blackening by some sadistic killer. Nobody knows why this is happening, so there's an element of mystery. Like I said, there's definitely some scares and a whole bunch of funny moments in there as well. It's a black film because it's a cast full of black people, but it is not a black film. Everybody's invited to the cookout on this one. I give this movie a 4.8 on my Smif scale. It is enjoyable and definitely worth the check out. Is it the most terrifying film on our list? No, but it's a solid flick. Worth watching. And there you have it, guys. That's my list for the best 2023 horror so far. I hope you found it useful. Hope you found it entertaining. I would like to also ask you to consider subscribing to our channel. Just a free way of helping me out. And other than that, I just ask that you continue to be inspired, be inspirational, be. Peace. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Hi guys, make sure to like and subscribe.